everybody. I'm doing a Zodiac energy reading for Leo for the month of December. I'm going to relax here, get tuned in, and we will see what the message is for all of you. Okay. Having to use other senses. It's not necessarily clear with my eyes. I'm having to use my sense of smell and my sense of hearing. I also have a feeling in my gut. I feel animal instinct. I'm having to work with animal instincts. It feels natural to me. It feels more exciting way to live life. It's relying on more of your physical human experience. It's not a fantasy. It's like really ingrained in the real world. And not being able to see exactly, but being able to sense it with other senses that we're not aware of how often we use these other senses, because it seems like our sight is the main one. But hearing, smelling, tasting, these senses exist. They help guide our path. And the feeling in your stomach also guiding the path. It's intuition. Now, this is peculiar. I see Leo, it's a bit of a crumpled up space and everything is black like burnt paper that it never crumbled to ash. It remained in its form or shape, but it was kind of crumpled and everything became black. I feel, Leo, you're in too small of a space. Almost like this paper was balled up and thrown into a trash can, and then it was burnt in a fire and it never crumbled, and you were inside the paper that got thrown away and put in this trash can. And you're using your senses to understand, where am I? What's going on in my life? How do I move on? But there's something, it's like you're not out of this yet. It's almost like you're deep inside of it and not aware that you are inside of it. But part of the reason why, so you are part of the reason why this paper hasn't crumpled to ash, because there's something that you don't want to let go of. There's something you don't want to acknowledge or admit about your life. And you're using a bit of the rose-colored glasses scenario. And then you have this overlay as though it's more exciting than it really is. Like, I'm using all these senses to find my way out. But really, you're stuck inside a crumpled piece of paper, inside a trash can. And none of that, you're going to have to choose to be completely honest with yourself in order to see the reality of where you are in your life. And you need to be able to see it, not just sense it with other senses and stay in the dark. Because the reason why it's in the dark is because you're avoiding honesty, something about the honest truth. And it feels a bit numb to me, almost like as I'm talking about this, Leo just isn't really... is just ignoring the conversation, is saying everything's fine and there's nothing wrong here. I don't know what you're talking about. I actually feel quite exhilarated. I mean, Leo's saying this to me. I show Leo time and I say, okay, it may feel that way right now, but you have a lot of time to figure this out. So month after month after month after month after month, you're going to have to eventually acknowledge something that you're not wanting to look at about yourself and your life. And you're not going to be able to enter into new things until this has been worked through. And so we may just be at the beginning stages of it. So we may not be very felt right now. Leo seems to have a bit of a big heart, which is lovely. A big ego, though. And a lot of outsmarting wit and control of the situation. More than anybody would ever know or understand or see. But again, I'm shown that this is the illusion inside the illusion inside the illusion inside the illusion that has Leo unsuspectingly self-imprisoned. And I don't see this trash can being particularly easy to be aware of it or to get out of it until there's some kind of acknowledgement of some kind. It's like it's like a harsh realization that isn't real. Because you're never going to acknowledge that it really was like that. Because you don't want to admit it. Could have been something you did that you'll never admit that you were wrong. And so you'll live in the fantasy that you were always right, which means you're going to remain in the trash can for a really long time. It could be something about your life that you don't want to admit that there's something wrong in your life. Because you don't want to change, you don't want to deal with new things, you just don't want to work on that right now. So you just won't talk about it, you won't acknowledge it, you won't even choose to see it that way. Again, living in a fantasy. So, well, I can get my way through anything. I am so strong and full of heart. That's true. But until this an honest moment happens, your life is going to remain slightly in a fantasy, and you're not going to realize that you're in a trash can. You need to try to figure out if there's something that you said that you weren't honest about, something that in your life is existing that you can't admit that it's a problem. It could be someone else, either something in your life or something in yourself that you don't want to admit that you did something wrong. Somebody else isn't exactly the way that you want to admit that they really are. My relationship is great. Behind closed doors, it's not great. You just don't want to talk about it like it really is. Like, it could be something like this, okay? I'm trying to give examples to help you kind of put your finger on it. I don't know if it's going to be fully understood. It seems like it could be complicated. Like, it may not be understood for a few months. So this could be something new that we're stepping into here that needs a couple of months of time to really unravel it, for it to be seen. You know, maybe in the springtime where it's like, wow, I had no idea that I was kind of living under a rock because I didn't feel like I was. But now I'm entering into something new and I see now where I was kind of avoiding that thing. So it could be like this, that there's a new energy stream going on that we're just not caught up to it yet because we're human, you know. But it's going to become more clear in time. And so I wouldn't worry too much about the wastebasket trying to put your finger on it, but they are asking you to see if there's anything in your life like this, because that's something you need to work on, and it's going to make your life so much brighter and so much better in the long run. And if you don't know how to work on it, or you don't want to talk about it, just talk to your guides, because they're invisible people. You can tell them anything, and you can just say, okay, I secretly am noticing something I really don't want to admit, or I don't want to talk about, and I don't want to acknowledge it, but this is like the hard thing that I'm holding my breath over. But this, and just like whisper it in your like pretend world to your guides, which are just people, invisible people in your pretend world, and just tell them secretly, you know, you'll feel so much better. It's the start of something that is going to be a positive change for you in the coming months. So, all right, that's the message for Leo. Oh, man. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. If any of you are interested in exploring a psychic session with me, please visit me at my website at abbynormalswisdomquest.com. I have 2 other YouTube channels, so you can check me out at Abbey Normal and at Abbey Psychic Services. And then I'm also on Patreon, so you can visit me at patreon.com/Abbey Normal's Wisdom Quest. All right, thank you all so much and for watching. Have a wonderful December and a wonderful rest of your 2020.